This is the post-game show brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Texas Homer, joined by Coach Dub, Drew Kelson. Texas gets the win, 52-37. Equal in about the first half, and then Texas pulls away big in the second half. And then I would say the big moment, actually, before I would even say the big moment, I want to see you over at InsideTexas.com. Join up right now, $1 for your first week, new members only. We'd love to see you on the board, and I'm sure the post-game thread is a lot of fun. Come over, join Inside Texas. $1 single. All right, man. I want to start with Arch Manning. He's had a few weeks. He's been like over 250 for however many games, but he's doing stuff beyond just the box score. There was one in the end zone where he breaks contain, and a more nervous quarterback would have tried to scramble for the touchdown, right? Probably could have got that too, but he stayed composed, threw it in the back of the end zone. He's doing a lot of stuff, man. He's grown, and not tremendously from kind of that nervous start that he had, and he's making some real plays and showing the NFL what's up. So what were y'all's thoughts on Arch Manning?
Oh, man. Arch Manning. Look, I called him the saving grace. I thought he put his cape on today. Like, a lot of times most quarterbacks would have been sacked. Like, he shrugs big dudes off like it's nothing. Keeps his feet, and he's looking for the touchdown. Like, he's looking downfield to get rid of the ball. He's not trying to take a check down. He's still looking for the open guy, so he's not panicking in the pocket. Man, he worked that pocket better than most, man. He looked like Arch Manning. We all thought maybe we'd get the beginning of the season, but I think he's grown into that. Today was a special game. I don't really care about, the opponent and who he played. It's about the only thing you can, worry about is how you played. I thought he played well. He did everything that you would want him to do. Looked off first, second, third progression, and found open guys. So, and he didn't even take off running. No need to take extra hits. Arch, I thought he just did a phenomenal job, man.
True.
Yeah, I mean, Arch. I was hoping at the beginning of the season Arch would learn or grow from the chaos that was the offensive line, and when you see him in the pocket now, it's calm. He's still keeping his eyes down the field. He's finding receivers. He's making great throws. So that's the refreshing part of it. We knew what his talent was. Anybody can throw the ball well on air. Anybody can go to camps and throw the ball well. Anybody can throw the ball well in practice. But when you actually have people that are coming to hit you, hurt you, tackle you, hit your teammates, they scheme against you, they're trying to stop you, that's different. And it took some time for the offense to gel and everything else around him to the extent that even gave him the flexibility to do this. And this is still with a run game that's not consistent. I mean, even he read run blocks really well today in a way we don't see our backs do. So
Arch has better vision than our running backs.
He has better vision than
he got better hands than some of our receivers too. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is, if there was a bright spot, not just for today or the last few weeks before this season, it's Arch and really this team, if we're being honest, offensively, and some of the receivers with Mosley and Livingston and the offensive line that has finally gelled, at least to support Arch, not gelled in the run game, but gelled in the way that Arch can do what he has to do. We've seen growth there. And so while there's a lot of things that we'll take and that we have to address, it's just great to see your quarterback who, against inferior competition earlier in the season, things were just not clean, were not nice, did not look right, looked dominant today against a rival as we get ready to prepare to play against another rival. So great game for him. This is what you want to see late in the season from your quarterback.
Yeah, and it makes next year far more bright with Arch. And then once again, we see here 0 sacks.
Yeah.
So shout out to the offensive line. Apparently making one change at left guard solved it, which is crazy. But hey, man, I'll give them credit when they're due, because I sure wasn't giving them credit earlier in the season. So 0 sacks again. Now, some of that is Arch's just ability to avoid sacks, his ability to step up and stuff like that. But 0 sacks is still 0 sacks. So great job there, at least in the pass game. And then receivers had some good ones, some good moments too. We have Moore with 3 touchdowns. That was awesome to see. We had Wingo 81, Mosley 81, Moore 74. Livingston ends up with 104 yards. Made that nice catch over his shoulder when he just ran by that guy. So Receivers had a really good day downfield. We talked pregame that Arkansas is one of the worst passing defenses in explosivity, so the explosive plays should be there, and they were there. And what I was most excited by is they made a really bad defense look like a really bad defense. That's how it's supposed to look. And so people are like, Arkansas's defense sucks. Correct. But that's how we played a few defenses that sucked and we struggled, So that's what I thought was the coolest part. That's how it's supposed to look on the offensive side of the ball. So shout out to the receivers, pass blocking, Arch, all of that.
Yeah, because if the offense sucked today, we'd be hearing about it.
Yes. Yeah.
So we can't water it down when the offense does.
Mm-mm.
I mean, everybody ate. How many people over 20 yards a catch?
Shoot,
4.
Let's see what did they have their averages here. I don't think they even.
I saw averages a second ago. Yeah, hold on. I don't know what you had it on. I saw averages. I thought it was but yeah, I think you had 4 receivers over 20 yards a catch. Well, the tight end injuries was over.
Oh yeah, we did throw to the tight end today. Okay.
Yeah, yes. No, we had 6 targets apparently.
Oh,
on injuries.
There we go.
Yeah, they're
averages. More Livingston.
Yes.
Sheesh.
Yeah, that was balling. They were busting all over the place, and then we were also just running right by them.
Yeah.
But it's one thing to have guys running open, and hitting them is a different thing. So that was awesome. We're going to need a lot of that to continue next week. Now, the rushing, still not there. Not surprising. One of the worst rushing offenses just across the board on my stats. Everything is red. So they're not a good rushing defense. We still weren't able to rush. It just kind of is what it is. Let's get to the portal. Let's get to next year with that. And then also, like I said, the running backs are like groundhogs. They'll pop up every like 4th or 5th game, and they're due for one against A&M.
Yeah.
So, and we've seen Wisner ball out there. So maybe we'll have the run game pop up. And Trey gets to 4.5, but that was at the end of the game. Everybody was under 4 for this matchup.
When I see running game, I see Ryan Wingo with 6 targets and 6 catches. And it's that type of efficiency for 81 yards that I just throw that into the mix at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, we're having to kind of help it out in proxy, but we'll see. I mean, the run game does show up like 3 times a year, so we'll see if it shows up.
Yeah, we need it next week.
We're going to need it next week just to be complete. But that part was good. Any other major kind of offensive stuff that stuck out to you besides Arch's ball? And I think that was all that it was, so it's hard to talk past that.
I mean, even on some of the passes, though, I thought the receivers at least adjusted well in the air and tracked the ball well. Like some of them, they normally drop. But the one maybe the ball was thrown a little too short, but they adjusted, slowed down, and made sure they caught the football before running off. So that was good to see them catch it with their eyes actually and bring the football in because we missed a ton of those this year. So
yeah, and then Arch being able when the play broke down to still make the play and the receivers to stay ready is important too. That was a big thing for me preseason to learn that. So obviously did a good job against a really bad defense and made that the case. Before we go to comments and all of that, let's talk defense. 4th straight game, we're giving up plus 30 points. Arkansas is a good offense. I get that. But I'm not so used to the amount of scoring that we're having on us. Only 1 sack, Coach pointed out before the game. That 1 sack was a very pivotal 1 sack, though. LaFau was able to get a first or a touchdown off of it, so that was really cool. But defense, trouble on the perimeter early. Washington, I thought, had a good game.
Man,
what was y'all's thought? Linebacker play was Drew. What did you think about the linebacker play?
I don't know. It's a combination of the linebackers and the D line. I feel like when they ran the ball, I feel like they ran the ball because we didn't make plays. We did not make plays. We did not hold point. We didn't play on their side of the line of scrimmage. So it's just the front 7 felt like they were just there. And in some ways, it felt like they were just there last week. So Yeah, we have to figure out how to disrupt and how to not allow talented quarterbacks, because that's all Arkansas had was a quarterback. As far as talent goes, as far as a guy who can beat you, it's him. Now I really like their running back too, by the way.
Washington.
But
Sorry.
but I mean, you have to go into the game with some command of the offensive line, and so I just don't feel like we owned it this week, and next week won't be. I don't know. You got to own it, man. The difference with next week though is A&M is not the type of team, and here we are talking about next week, but here we are, right? A&M is not the type of team that's going to just take the little things here and there and do the zone reads and just kind of nickel and dime down the field because they can't beat you outside. They're going to take their shots. And I think that's where we as a team thrive. It's when we play against teams that want to take those shots, not that's just doing routine passes that go a long way, but teams that want to try to bury you through the air and bury you through some longer developing routes and some things that make the quarterback vulnerable. I think, we got to, next week is a week we got to take advantage of that. And this week we started slow. And then once we buried them, it was done.
Go ahead. I was saying up front, I thought the guys were like slow dancing with the offensive line from Arkansas, which I don't usually like dominate, like play on their side of the line of scrimmage, man, so that the linebackers can get a clean read. I don't think we gave them that enough, especially from the very first play. I thought, what are we doing here? But that was just, my take up front. And I think the Arkansas offensive line, like either they did a really, really great job, or I don't know, maybe we were just playing two gapping, maybe, Drew. I don't know, maybe we were just trying to read and see which way they go. And we just versus attacking, or what it was. But I thought when Washington went out, I thought their running game went away. And I thought, okay, they're kind of one-dimensional. And then, like you said, Taylor Green is going to have a Taylor Green moment to where he just kind of
throws the dumbest pass,
off script and just does something to derail the team or the offense. And so I thought, but other than that, I thought their offensive line played well versus ours. I just didn't see that dominant defensive line I guess we're used to seeing.
Yeah, they're not disruptive. They're not disruptive. They are, but I don't know if they're disruptive. That's just not by design either. They're not impacting the game. And, if we don't put them in a position to impact the game, that means we're relying too much on our linebackers. And if the linebackers without Anthony Hill or with Anthony Hill, like if they're not impacting the game, like somebody has to be consistently putting the pressure on the offense. And it always starts up front. But if those guys aren't disruptive, then the quarterback has time, the run game gets to develop on like everything falls in place. So we're not affecting the game on the line of scrimmage as much as I expect us to at this point in the season. I really thought that we would be just more disruptive. And this year, I mean, right now in this game, we were not. I don't remember a D lineman's name being called.
Sure.
Yeah, we didn't have a bunch. I mean, we just had one sack. It was an eventful sack, but it wasn't a lot of disruption. And they go for 6.1 yards per rush. Now, Arkansas is fourth in the country at yards per carry, so it's a very good rushing offense. But 6.1 for 188 yards, and their quarterback that helps the run game by making you be aware of two planes of action goes out. So that's not good. Can't have that. So they had 188 total yards of rushing. They did outgain us 512 net total yards. Arkansas has been putting up yards on people. The problem is it doesn't really convert to wins for them for whatever reason. But it's so weird, dude, how the offense and the defense have flipped throughout this season, because it was completely the opposite of what I thought was going to be occurring. But defense is just kind of whatever the past few games.
It's weird, man. Very weird.
It is weird. So we did have 4 tackles for loss, 9 QB hurries, so we had some pressures there. The interception was just 1 for 1. We don't get a lot of takeaways either, which is interesting compared to last year.
That's the biggest gap from last year.
Yeah.
I mean, You take Jade and Makuba alone, and that's already a curveball. So
yeah.
What
emotion! We're talking through
the two categories we won in. I would say is the penalties and third down. Maybe I thought they have more penalties than us.
Yeah, I think we did well on penalties.
Look at us. But okay.
Yeah, we only had 7, which comparatively for us,
never mind. It's only 8. Well, one more, but still,
it's positive.
It's positive. It wasn't double digits today.
Possession. They won the possession battle, but that's because by the fourth quarter we were like, do whatever you want with your new quarterback. But this is also really positive. 8 for 12 on third downs, and then I think we went 4 for 4 on red zone. Wow. So that's what I really like to see. Actual situational stuff. And I think what we scored coming out of the third, we scored a field goal right before half. So we had all the situational stuff that I always harp on. We had a positive game for, and I hope that continues.
I like 158 yards after catch or I guess contact. I thought that was huge. We broke a few tackles after catching the ball. We just didn't go down. Again, I guess Arkansas didn't either, but still. It's good to see at least 158 yards of that. That's not bad. We're going to need it next week.
Yeah. All right, before we keep going, let's hear a word from Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Any gate can be a tailgate.
Trying to push off talking about A&M, but this game's it wasn't very exciting. It was just kind of like, okay, Arch did well. That's the story of the game. Let's see what else we have here.
I see a comment here from Ross Flowers when and I know it's a bit long, so I don't know if you can put it up, but
sure. Let me read it real quick. Wadlington's analysis, which appears correct, implies a catastrophic defensive coaching breakdown, like guys mad at each other for screwing each other's wives or something on that level. Definitely not on that level, but definitely ready for someone to head out.
But I definitely so on Inside Texas at halftime, just kind of went to the board. Mind you, there's like already 1,000 comments through the first half. But I after watching the first half, it felt like you imagine these coaches that get into it, they butt heads, and then they just say, you know what, you just go coach your guys, and I'm gonna coach my guys. That's kind of how it feels. It's just like everybody's just like screw you, screw you, screw you. They don't say screw you, they say something else. And then it's like go coach your guys. But there's no alignment, there's no camaraderie, there's none of that, man. It seems like and I don't mean amongst players, I mean just philosophically amongst the coaches. It's like they're willing to settle for, well, my guy's doing his job, what about your guy? and it just nothing, like it's weird. It's a weird dynamic to be in, because as much as I saw fire PK and PK sucks today on a number of different platforms, PK has been great for us, really throughout his time. And he's actually, even in the beginning of the season, it felt like the defense was carrying the team in some sense too. So it's hard for me to throw PK under the bus. But you are not wrong. There are some things that are out of sync and that will need to be addressed. We will not be able to address them before next week. So let's just keep riding with what we got, because next week's important enough, I think, what everybody needs to lock in and will lock in.
And Drew, I want to ask you something about that. Do you think PK is allowing too many voices to influence his game plan? Usually you can get, coaches on defense and stuff, they sit around, they got the game plan, analysts, everybody watch film, you draw up the scout cards, you know how you want to attack somebody. Do you think he's allowing too many people to say, hey, we should do this, and him accepting it, or because he doesn't say, I like your idea, I may implement it, let's see how it goes this week in practice. If it doesn't work, I'm scrapping it, I'm gonna run my stuff. Do you feel like he's just allowing too many cooks in the game plan?
When it's PK, I mean, to a certain extent, we give him a ton of credit for the way our defense has performed, especially on great years and with great players and just the way we put the defense together. But when has he ever when does it ever feel like he's had full ownership of the room, of like the whole defensive room?
Yeah.
Whether it be the DBs, it's always felt. I mean, he hasn't hired his guys. Yes, of course they interviewed him, but I mean, a lot of what he is working through. It doesn't feel like, he's had full ownership. We've tweaked things. We've been running 3-1-7 now. Like, that's not a part of his playbook, So regardless, even for the positive things or the negative things, I mean, we've had coaches come in. We were running cover 4 just 2 years ago, like all the time, and now we're running cover 3. So he has allowed influence, and while I think we appreciate some of that open-mindedness in some ways, I think we could say this year the open-mindedness has not paid its dividends in a way that we're dominant and trustworthy defense that we're proud of. That's just, that's really the difference, and that's in spite of some of the talent we have. Right. We're just not where we think we should be in spite of the talent we have, and that's kind of, I don't know. That's so. Yeah, is it he allowing too many people in? He allows people in, but when it works, it's great. But when it's not working, we're stuck. There's no solution, and it feels like we're stuck.
Yeah.
Robert asked a good question that'll kind of lead me into thinking about it. However, Sark needs to let PK pick his own coaches. So to me, it's hard to have ownership when you don't have ownership. Right. So he's only hired really Choate, and that went well, but Sark just dictates who his whole staff is. So if you want him to take ownership, give him ownership. And so I think he's been obviously too collaborative with Akina, who's a very strong personality, and PK is not a strong personality. And Akina will run you over like a truck if you give him the air to do that. And he'll take over your defense in 5 seconds if you give him the air to do that. And so that's what I think it is. I think it's too much collaboration. But you have a very strong personality that if you're not necessarily speaking up, well, I guarantee you someone in that room is speaking a lot. And so that's what I think. But just give them ownership. I mean, we've had some really good coaches from the first staff. I really, Gideon and all of that. But it's really just Sark picks all his coaches. And if Sark's picking your coach, and then you feel like, well, clearly my head coach wants me to introduce some of their scheme because that's part of the hire. So that part is always interesting. And the fact that he's made it work so many times prior is also very interesting. This is the first kind of failure I've seen from that model that they've used. What do y'all think?
I'm gonna agree. I mean, yeah, you got to stand up and say, hey, look, I know it's the same thing we may tell Sark, like we want Sark to have help, right? We're begging him to have help, but it's the reverse side with PK. It's like you might be a little selfish and tell everybody else, shut up. I mean, they don't say that on the headsets, but you got to tell them at some point, shut up. I got this. I got this. Right? Too many ideas. I don't think it's good, right? I mean, it's good to game plan when they sit around on Sunday night to midnight and drop a plan, and then Monday again. But if it's at some point, you got to say, okay, hey, look, I got this. I appreciate your input. I don't know if he'll ever do that just because maybe he's not good at calling the back end. Maybe it's just not his thing. And so he relies heavily on, somebody else that he just okay with it because that's just not his strong suit. I don't know.
I think we're too, like, there's no reason. We don't know who we are. We change every year on defense. We tweak every year. We have some safeties that weigh 180 pounds, other safeties that probably weigh 220. Just if you actually put them on a scale, not 220, but you know what I mean? Like, you have to have body types. You have to have guys who can cover. You have to have guys who can play the game you want to play. So when you're tweaking every single year for what you want to be, you have half of your rooms they fit right into the mold of what you want to be, and the other half doesn't. And you don't have depth, you don't have competition, so you settle for what you got. And so you may have a room or a philosophy that requires guys to be able to cover and man and do it well. But if you tweak the next year or throughout the season, you may have another, like we've been running so much cover 3. I mean, that's fine. But what are we going to be next year? Hopefully something different. But the point is, when you have a clear identity, you can recruit to that identity. The recruits know, like, if I go to Texas and play this position, I'm going to be asked to do X, Y, and Z. I've seen these players before me do X, Y, and Z. I'm going in to plug and play, develop, and be great in that same line. And we're too fluid. And so while we've had the name and had the person in PK, who I think is done a really good job from the standpoint of just consistency. Our baseline has been higher than average across his time here, especially in the last 3 years. But this year, for sure, with the tweaks and with just not knowing who we are and not knowing who we're going to rely on, and in some ways settling, it's just a different field. So we got to really figure out who we want to be and who we need to be moving forward once we get to the offseason. We can't have when I see teams that have a wide range of body types at the same position, I'm not thinking, oh, this gives us versatility, especially not on defense. I'm thinking we don't know who the hell we want to be. So I want to see guys kind of come a bit more like we got to get to the point where we're not settling, where there's always competition, and we have a lot of players who are able to play fast and know what they're doing, and it doesn't matter who's back there. We portal somebody in. We know exactly what to teach them to make them effective. We play a freshman if we have to. We know exactly what we have to teach them to make them effective. It doesn't take 10 years for a player to be able to contribute to the team and understand what it takes to make plays.
What was worrying is that PK was known for his defense just being really sound, and so like the busts are what were the biggest concerning thing, because I was like, that doesn't look like a PK defense, that like lack of discipline. It's always been pretty boring, and the fact that it's not like super blitz happy or the more exciting or even super man happy,
right?
But it was always solid, and it was, so you couldn't really argue with the game plan. But now you're seeing busts or like getting out of gaps on that first Arkansas run, new linebacker starting, so that's context. But that kind of stuff you just didn't see really the past 2 years. And you definitely didn't see giving up like 6.1 yards per rush, even against a really, really good rushing offense in Arkansas. So, yeah, luckily, I think this will be a problem that'll solve itself pretty shortly.
We'll appreciate these problems later.
Yeah. But also, Sark, like, let him pick his own secondary coach, man. Like, and you talk to players about PK, because I inquire. I'm like, does he not care about the secondary? And they're like, yeah, he does. And he's super smart. Like, he knows it. So it's like some of this is like a weird narrative that's going on about PK that when I talk to 3 people about it, and all of them are like, that's not true. So I don't know where the narrative comes from. But it's a thing that like PK doesn't even call the secondary. And it's like, well, he does. When he calls the play, he calls it, So it's just
weird, man. I don't Coach, you let me know, Coach. I've never seen a situation where like the whole doesn't call the secondary thing. There's only one defense and everything has to work in sync. So that whole talk track for PK does not call the secondary. I mean, the defense is the defense.
Right.
If you're running cover 3, that involves everybody. If you're running man, if you're running a blitz, like everybody has to be in sync.
It's tied to the run fits. Your secondary is tied to the run fits. So it's like you call a full defense.
Yeah. I don't know. I've seen too many voices that maybe on the sideline. I got one person. Everybody's trying to communicate the call, make sure the defense got it. But I think you can visibly see Akina sometimes, like, there may be one call, but I don't know if he's just telling people where to line up or play it different or whatever the case. Because you never know sometimes. Coach, I mean, I've been on some disgruntled stats where it's like, I know he wants you to play this way, but this is how we're going to play it in the game. Forget what they did in practice. This is how we're going to really run it, because that doesn't work. But if you have some infighting, sure. I think they can kind of change some things. But for the most part, the DC calls the defense play. Everybody else just communicates the call. If it's cover 3, cover 4, match, quarter, half, whatever. Like, whatever it is, you just play that call. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what a disconnect is.
Yeah, and it's like, I love cover 3. It's a great coverage, but it's like guys are busting. And so it's like, I'm not mad at the defensive structure. Like, you can play any defense as long as you're sound and well coached. It'll work, and you got athletes, it'll work. But that's what was most concerning to me is that we just like made plays that looked like it was like year one at Texas. Let me see here. I thought we did some good. And first down efficiency. Our average first down gain was 7.9 yards. That's exactly where you can find a ton of success. And that's been the biggest problem with the offense, why your third downs are so frequent and long, or because you're not effective on first down. So they're able to get average 7.9 on a first down, and that's without a run game. So I thought that was a really big factor too. It looks like Sark has gone away, and I'll have to go look in all 22, but it seems like Sark's relented that we're a spread. Like the first couple drives, man, that's what I'm talking about. It was just a guy running 7 yards and sitting down, and then you hit him. I'm like, you see how easy this is in college football when you play this style with good athletes? Like the offense I've enjoyed. Also, why are they not putting 7 guys on Wingo to start the first play of the game? Like we've done it 4 weeks in a row. What I'm hoping he does is he's building it for A&M.
A&M next week. Fake to Wingo, over the top, touchdown, first play of the game.
Exactly. Is that 4 weeks in a row? We open up with some screen
with the Wingo.
Yeah. So they're definitely keying in on that.
Yeah,
and better be coaching up the fake.
Yeah, there has to be a second level to that play that they're trying to build because it's so obvious now. So hopefully Wingo takes that right over the top. But I just love the style of the offense. I think it suits Arch. It clearly is suiting our offensive line. This is the style that I don't know why we didn't play week one. We didn't. The pass of the past, but at least we're playing it now, and the team looks a lot more dangerous. Period. And we got injuries involved.
Yeah, that was good to see. Injuries, get a couple catches, man. He sat down in the zone too, like easy completions. Just if they're not covering you in space, just turn around and sit down. Like don't quit, don't keep running your route and running out of the picture. Like just sit down and turn around. So it was good to see a lot of them actually do that.
Yeah. With Utah winning, Texas out of the playoffs. A lot of Utah stuff. I haven't paid attention to the scene because, frankly, I'm not following the college football playoff race. Just to be honest,
I don't care about any of that.
Yeah, I don't care about any of that. Like, I'm ready to get to the off season.
Let's go play games. Like, I want to go play and win games. Like, that's the only way. So, this is where I struggle. And Coach, you can tell me how you feel about this. But between fans or between comments or commentators, like everybody's talking about stuff that I don't care about. Like I love football. Like when I'm watching this team play, I'm literally living vicariously through them. So when everybody's talking about these guys quit or I guess they have nothing else to play for, I'm like,
you hate that.
You still have to put on pads.
Yeah.
And if you don't have anything to play for the fact that this person's going to punch you in the mouth.
Yeah.
If nothing else, so I don't get that. You don't work all off season to go play a game that's fun and then just lay down. Yes, the fans don't want to show up to a game. They want to lay down. If they don't want to watch, lay down. But that just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
No,
I can't process it. I cannot process it.
Yeah, Drew's still in the bunker mentality. Like, hey, he's still a player at heart and up here, bro.
I get off-season issues. We still got a game to play. We got to correct this, correct that. Man, I'll talk about that in a few weeks. Man, I don't have time to talk about that right now. We got A&M on the table. We're going to have fun tonight in Austin after this game, go back to work tomorrow, and we're going to see where it all lands. I don't care about none of that. You got to go eat. You have to go eat.
For the fans that are really keyed into the playoffs, because like I said, I haven't been studying it. And this is going to sound simple, but why do you want to be in the playoffs? Is it to say you're to say you're in the playoffs?
Give me a shot. Give me a shot. All I want to do is get to the tournament. Get me to the tournament, then you never know what happens. I want to be in the tournament. Do I think we'll match up versus other teams good on this side of things? No. But if I'm a coach and player on staff, man, get me to the tournament. I just want a chance to fight. That's all I want. That's all you can ever ask for. And so, I want to get in the ring and throw blows.
So that's the point, though, Coach. If you're a coach, you want to throw blows. If you're a player, you want to throw blows. Yeah. As a fan, I'd be like, you know what? We don't have a great team this year. Who cares about the playoffs? Let Texas, let Texas Tech, let OU go to the playoffs. Spend all this energy as inferior teams trying to win it all. We haven't played A&M yet, but I don't see those teams winning the playoffs. It's great for them. It's a great opportunity. It's great exposure. It's great momentum for them. But I'd much rather if we're not a good enough team, let's just get to work. Let's get to work in the portal. Let's get to work on our coaching staff. Let's get to work on keeping the players we need to keep. Let's just keep getting to work on what's next. And this is the perfect offseason to have a little extra time to get to work. So I don't know, man. Like, getting to the playoffs for the sake of getting to the playoffs is one thing, but we saw this team against San Jose State. We saw them against Mississippi State. We've seen enough. If we were to get to the playoffs and win it, that would be – it'd be a Cinderella story, and we're Texas. Like, this team would be a Cinderella story. I don't care how you look at it. So, but as a player, we got games to play. As a coach, we have games to play. And so I just don't understand it from a fan's perspective of just wanting to be there just because you want to be there. You got to see it for reality sometimes. And some of the teams we don't want to see there, they're not great enough to just guarantee them a spot to win it. They'll be in it and their fans will talk trash, but that's all right. We'll make the most of it if we're not there. Trust me.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. That's my thing is we're not good enough to make a run. So to me, it just delays the inevitable when it's all about the portal. I want to be scouting all these teams that are playing in the playoffs, and I want to be plotting on them, and I want to take their star player like that. That's what like they were doing with us. That's what I want. If I thought we were good enough to make a run, sure, but I think look, man, we got coaches that need to change. We got a bunch of stuff. I want to get to the Outback Nokia cell phone bowl and get the extra month, but I want to get to work on actually being able to make a run next year with Arch. That's the big thing. Now I know it's like just fan not thinking about down the road. You're just like the fact that those three are going to be in the playoffs likely and you're not is it's going to suck on Twitter for us. It is. But the reality is those guys being in the playoffs, even though it hurts, is going to fire up the donors too. So there's also, in a weird way, there is a benefit to that because we got to go all in this next year and try to maximize Arch, in my opinion.
Yeah, because Arch is that good to maximize. Like I think he is that. We hoped he was that good early on, and he wasn't there yet, and the team was not there yet. But the team has at least gotten to the point where we know we have a player who can play. Like, the dude can play, man.
Yeah.
All right, before we keep going, guys, let's hear a word from Academy. The holiday season is here, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has the legendary gifts you need at undefeatable prices every single day. Shop in store or online at academy.com to save on gifts on everybody's list. From football jerseys and basketball hoops to fire pits and deer stands, the most wonderful time of the year happens here. This Christmas, give the gift of fun from Academy Sports and Outdoors. All righty, boys. People took that well. I thought they'd just be like, what do you mean you don't want to be in the playoffs?
No, man, that's the perfect storm. If you're a Texas, if you've been watching this team all year, it's the perfect storm. We haven't lost games. Like, we have 3 losses, 2 against teams that likely may play against each other in a national championship game.
Yeah.
Like, we can still build from a recruiting standpoint on a record like this, from a growth standpoint on a record like this. We're fortunate we haven't lost games that completely changes the perception when really the perception, the team is still a team. We still could have dropped some games, but I think we're if you're going to not have a perfect season, but still have some momentum going into your final game of the season and into the off season, we can't be in a better spot for all of us, considering all of us feel like we've underachieved and haven't reached our potential this year. So it is what it is. But I also believe Sark and leadership see the same thing.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some decisions that have to be made. And we'll know a lot more about this team and about Sark and about leadership going into this offseason because you don't make changes. You don't make major changes after great seasons.
Right.
You just don't. You keep everything. You try to keep everything intact.
Yeah.
You make those changes after seasons where you underperform. So,
who was the O-line coach? Was it Mac McWhorter? We had a terrible BYU game, and then he was gone like Matt kind of got rid of him like 2 days later.
Oh, McWhirter. Yep.
Yeah, it was like, hey, teach him to chop these dudes down. And they was on the sideline fighting. Next, McWhirter was like, he was out of there, right? And you kind of knew Diaz was going after that game too, because they were fussing about the read option and containing Taysom Hill. It's like, yeah, Mac made some tough choices. I think he got rid of him. That's when he brought in Robinson mid year, right? Was that the year he brought in Brian Robinson to come fill in for the rest of the year, rest his soul, and beat OU that year? So I mean, sometimes you got to have those tough decisions, make them, but it's tough.
Yep.
They're your friends. You bring them in, they're on the staff. You break bread together, all that. But hey, man, this is business at the end of the day.
Yeah. Arkansas on the time of possession, total yards, first down, and total plays. Texas is not going to get it done with Arch. Here's the factor with the offseason. Arch with running backs that aren't Jags, real run blockers, and then a defense that's better than whatever we have this year. That also is going to maximize too. I mean, Arkansas had all this, but also, the game was over in the third, and we eased up as well. So, no, Arch has all the traits to be an elite quarterback. The movement in the pocket, the mobility. He still can't figure out a shallow cross to save his life, but just don't call that route. But other than that, man, he's shown a lot of special traits that the NFL wants. And, he had the yips to start the year and he got himself out of it. That's a thing too. So we'll be fine as long as we maximize around him. It needs to be the Ohio State model when they won it all. Don't leave anything to doubt or questions or potential development or any of that stuff. But go all in on Arch, and you can see what'll happen next season if we do the correct things.
What people fail to realize about Arch when you look at his development this year, first of all, look at Arch compared to other quarterbacks throughout the country. And I don't mean stats. Look at the number of quarterbacks who are one read, maybe two, and running, throwing it in. Like their coaches tee up really easy shots.
Mm-hmm.
They don't handle or manage the pocket the same way Arch does. I mean, I can't remember who else watching earlier today. Just pressure came and he started running backwards to get away from it. It's like if he would have just stepped up into the pocket, he would have been able to keep his eyes downfield and make a throw. The most fundamental things that you don't see college quarterbacks do, Arch is starting to do, and I think the chaos at the beginning of the year helped him. But Arch is he is different when it comes to stepping up in the pocket and doing what the NFL wants to see quarterbacks do.
Yep.
You can look at stats all you want to. You can look at some of these offenses that run, that keep it easy for quarterbacks. They're not keeping things simple for Arch. They're just not. I thought it was stubborn. I don't necessarily love it, but he's developed and grown out of it. And so now they got to put the things around him to scale that development and to make the most out of it. There's no reason. I think if Texas goes into next season, depends on how the offseason looks. All the hype that Arch got going into this season, I think he has actually developed fundamentally into the quarterback that would actually be worthy of it. And it's just based on the way he's handled chaos and the way he's developed and steps up in the pocket and starting to make the throws and do the things that you expect to see.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think you made the point earlier that him running for his life makes just a normal pocket feel like easy mode. And his progression passing, like the weirdest part was Arch was struggling with single reads early, but he could always progression pass. It's normally the complete opposite with quarterbacks. And so he can do the more advanced reads and the mobility. So, yeah, Arch is going to be absolutely fine if you build the correct things around him. But, I mean, he's playing it right now with one of the worst rushing offenses in the country and still putting up that many yards. Imagine when the defense doesn't know the only threat is Arch and you can have a running back to lean on. That'll be a major, major factor.
Yeah.
Maybe pick a wide receiver as you guys continue to argue about Cam Coleman till the end of time. But pick up anybody, because what I don't want to hear, I'm pro get a receiver. But for Arch last year, I can't have if Wingo develops. if this
Nah.
person, I'm not playing ifs. I need to
Right.
know someone who is developed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care who it is. I mean, Mario Craver is one of the best receivers in the country, and he was off of Mississippi State, a player I said we should get, by the way. And I made a tweet that said, "Welcome to the Longhorns" when he was playing against us. But it doesn't have to. It can be a star, but there's good receivers out there, man. You just have to identify them. And the same with running backs. Washington from Arkansas, that's New Mexico State. Ahmad Hardy was ULM. Like, these backs are out there, and they're at the lower levels, and they're ready to play today. But what I don't want to hear is us having to gamble in the preseason that Wingo and Livingston and Mosley and all of them are going to get there eventually. I want somebody that we know is going to ball.
Agreed.
Hands down.
Yeah, I think we just need to rebalance the NIL balance sheet. If you know, just across the board, we need to recalibrate some things to make sure everybody's being compensated in accordance with their impact, not
that part
because of prospective impact.
Yeah, production versus potential, right? And that's fine. When you're straight out of high school, there's no other way. I can only pay you for potential.
Right.
But once we've evened out and you've had a couple of years and I've seen you got to be paid for your production. The potential is not a thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So once you've been there for a little while, you get paid for what you do for us and on the field. You're not some defensive tackle freshman that you got to pay $1 billion to because they're rare. And wide receivers aren't rare. Just the body type, right? There's more human beings that are, weigh 180 than there are that weigh 330. Well, Walmart will tell you different, but 330 and athletic. So you can find receivers, you can find running backs. There's no excuse not to have ballers at those positions, especially when you're Texas.
I totally agree with that statement. I don't know. Whatever. Just go hard in the portal. GAs, interns, analysts, y'all better be on PFF getting grades and PMs like right now. You better have a list to present to position coaches. As soon as the end of the season starts, you better have at least 20 at each position, man, ready to go and evaluate it.
Let's see. We pass on everybody once Arch got up to speed. Wide receiver is fine. That's my problem, Bobby. Fine's not good enough. Like, it's like I want elite. I want national championship. I agree that they're fine or pretty good, but I don't want fine or pretty good.
Yeah.
I want to.
Zachariah Branch is not fine.
Yeah.
Ohio State doesn't have receivers that are just fine. Like, you can't have just Alabama doesn't have receivers that are just fine. Hell, Auburn didn't have receivers that are just fine.
Right. True.
And I get it. You're not wrong. Like, we can't run or pass block, fix the ladder. 1,000%. Like, a good run game is going to help your receivers get open more. But it's just like, I want that receiving core freaks you out when you have to play them and you have to obsess on them. That's what we need. Like, yeah, you can get to 10 or 11 wins with these guys, not this season, but generally. But it's like we're trying to get to 14, 15 wins. Mm-hmm. And outside receivers can make a huge difference in doing that. Let's talk to Ian Boyd's philosophy of outside receivers. Ian's point, receivers make the passer, is his grand statement, unless you're Jackson Arnold.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
He I would love to bring you on to argue Ian's point on that. That's something he feels very strongly about and has for, 3 years. But
Ian doesn't change his opinions once he has
at all.
So.
Well, he lost because he spends like 10 years developing them, and then whenever he releases it into the wild, it's there. So that'll be a big thing. But yeah, get a receiver. Like I said, he doesn't have to be $3 million to get him. Find somebody from a lower rank like a Craver. And make it happen.
It's a ton out there. Hey, Conception's brother just went in the portal. I'm probably going to follow his brother A&M, but he's like legit too. So yeah.
I mean, we looked at guys, right? Like, there was beyond Mosley, there was a guy that we wanted to go into the portal last year, and he just didn't.
Right.
But there's also that thing too, where it's like that was our plan. It's like then he just doesn't, and now you just don't have your guy. It's like, well, we got to be better in personnel than that.
Yeah. Who else was it? The cat ended up going to Auburn. I know Branch was never really an option. I guess because he wanted to bring his brother as a kind of a duo thing, right? Having the safety, but I don't know.
Singleton, right? Is that the one?
Yes, Singleton. That's right, Singleton. Yeah.
Well, he was just asking a lot of money, and they were like, But there was another one too that never left his school that I won't say because he never left his school.
He's
But
been
like
balling too.
he's a baller, right? And so, but my thing is like just because when they don't leave, that's it. Like you just don't have a guy. So we need to have a little bit better on the contingency there. We were feeling ourselves a little too much this offseason. We thought the system was all you needed, baby. Let's ask the linebacker. What is our grade on linebacker play today?
Man, I hate feeling like if we don't have Ant Hill, we're not much. But yeah, I mean they didn't. We've had better outputs, but I do think linebacker play is heavily influenced by D-line play, and I didn't feel like we controlled the line or commanded the line in a way that freed the linebackers up. So every player needs, there's one or two things that needs to happen. If you're going to have a dominant D-line, everything goes to the D-line. It just kind of frees up the linebackers to play. But if you're not, then everybody, if you don't have a dominant D-line, then everybody just has to fit in their spots. And I just don't feel like when our D-line is just doing their job, our linebackers are fitting well into their spots consistently enough. We pointed out some plays from Ty Anthony Smith last week where it's just like, man, he's still developing and he's still, a talented player, but he's not hitting his spots. He's not convicted and kind of move like coming downhill and seeing things clearly. And so I do feel we really need to figure out the identity our linebacker is going to have moving forward, because our linebacker identity has been predicated on the dominance of the D-line. And Anthony Hill has the talent to where that hasn't mattered as much with a less dominant D-line this year. But we absolutely need to figure out, like, are we going to be dominant across the front? And if we are, there are some ways we can settle at LB. But if not, we really need guys who can diagnose and come downhill and be effective in the game. And so I cannot say today's game was something to be proud of necessarily as a linebacker, but I do think all these things are connected.
Well, it was weird too, man. Like, look, remember LaFau at the beginning of the year? It's like we had that, and then like the linebacker play is just kind of like regressed. And that part's been strange too, because we were talking about like LaFau's balling earlier in the season, and then then he's having trouble like getting playing time. So it's like really strange.
Yeah, I feel like they let the offensive line get to the second level so easily. I don't understand that. Like, it's your job is to protect the linebackers, so they make their job easier. So they have to get dirty eyes and get all mixed up reading their keys. But it's like sometimes they get to fire off the double team right into the linebackers. They don't even get a chance to come downhill and like shock or strike anybody. It's just kind of like, oh,
the guard's on them.
What do I do?
Yeah, the guard's on them. They didn't show a replay in the stadium. Was Smith's targeting legit? Yeah, by the rules. Forcible contact to the head and neck area. That receiver is also short. Like, I felt if that receiver was like 3 inches taller, he wouldn't have hit him in the helmet. But he was just a little receiver. And if you look, as soon as Ty Anthony makes the tackle, this is the admission of guilt. He looks straight to the ref. It's like the corner that DPIs and looks straight at the ref, and that. So yes, technically it was targeting, and so that's going to be rough. People constantly are just nothing's ever targeting to. Yes, he hit him in the head when he was coming down with the ball. Doesn't mean that I agree with it or think it's a good rule. Drew, do you think linebacker change needs to happen too, or just safeties?
Yeah. And I don't mean all of it. Yeah. Yes. Linebacker needs to be infused probably with talent, and maybe we have the talent on campus. They're just young. Maybe. But I really think when it comes to scheme and when it comes to coaching, look at our safeties, man. Like Jelani McDonald and Michael Taff started one way, and we're not that way.
He's talking about Nansen.
Oh. Change needs to happen. And there are different variables that impact that change. And so it will be up to Sark to determine, because honestly, it can go either way. You can have certain players And the scheme just has to fit the players. I mean, that's really what it has to come down to. But if you're not going to have the scheme to fit the players, you got to go get the players, meaning the talent, the dogs that you need to go just dominate and be effective. But I think if you're going to invest in dogs, and I don't see us doing it this year, like I think the dogs need to be at the D-line position. And if you're going to have linebackers, they need to be guys that come downhill. And if you're going to have DBs, they need to be guys who can cover in space and make tackles in space. Like those are all different parts of the defense that are going to be impacted in different ways. So let's just assume we're keeping PK going into next season. Then what do you work around PK to make sure that you have the right guys at the safety position, whether that be coaches or DBs? There's so many variables. Honestly, I can't even say it can't be solved. There's just too many options to solve it. So we just got to figure out who we want to be and address the issue. And I think some of that will be coaching, both in personnel coaching, meaning people who may not be there anymore, and both in schematics and how we approach the game. But we also got to make sure we align the right players with it, and make sure we get players who fit the identity we want to have.
Yeah, Drew, I think you really just spot on. And I only can use two teams that everybody can kind of look at and see. Georgia defensive linemen, they get pressures, but those linebackers can run free and make plays all day long because that front four just eats up blocks. Look at Ohio State, the same way. Now they got some big linebackers, so even when it's one-on-one block, they'll go blow the offensive guard up and still make a play. But that's what you're talking about. You need a dominant D line that can just say, hey, you know what? You're not getting to the second level. We're gonna eat blocks, and that's okay. We're just gonna do our job, and we can dominate, in the interior. So either, like you said, find 4 dudes, on the defensive line, or find some better linebackers who can read and direct and don't mind striking and racing. Get you a DJ, you can kind of slip a block a little bit. I mean, anything, dip that shoulder. You got to find something because right now
defensive tackles make the linebacker. Like you can change round. You can go from 4th to 1st, and it was always your defensive line. Like that's how important it is for linebackers to look good.
But that's why I say there's so many variables, because even then it's like if you're not going to recruit the guys who are already Byron Murphy strong, like you need to have a guy that an offensive line just can't deal with. Yeah. Do we have a guy that can't deal with? Yeah. Colin Simmons is an end. Right. But that's not that is down specific. Like that is he's dominant. A big play today. But when you talk about down after down, guys who just give you a headache, like we have to account 2 linemen for this DT every play. Every play. We don't have it. Or on the other side of the ball, like you have a receiver where you have to account 2 DBs for this receiver every play, or else there should be a guy on the D line. There should be a receiver. Like there should be somebody who you have to scheme for. We don't have guys that they are scheming for. We don't. I can't think of a single person right now Anthony Hill's great, but are they scheming away from him? No, they're just running their plays, and you can work your way around it and just put somebody in the way, and
they're just sending a guard up to the second level. Like
that's it. And so you gotta imagine. At Texas, as much as we want to spread the ball around, as much as everybody gets to eat, like it'd be great to go into a game and have a player you have to scheme for. Even today, we had to scheme for Taylor Green. Taylor Green is a load, man. Like you have to scheme for guys like that. You have to scheme for Zachariah Branch. If you don't, good luck. Like there's certain guys you have to scheme for. We need those guys on the D line. We need those guys at receiver. And then everything else from there you can kind of work with, but you need guys that can eat up 2 players.
Yeah, and not just schematically because they happen to be running that way. Like by design in the game plan, they're making sure that it happens. AJ, I disagree, man. Michael Taft just needs to be benched. He hasn't had a great 2 games. I'll give you that, but. That opening run with Washington, Taft played that well, or he was going for a touchdown. And he saved that. So he timed it well at safety there. I agree. He hasn't had the two great games though, but no, I do not think Taft needs to be benched.
People have been hating on Taft since he first got his little scholarship, man. since he first walked on. No, I mean we're not lying, man. Taft needs to be benched, is like people saying Sark needs to be fired. Like we're not. We see what you see. Like no lie, we see what you see. We see that there have been some inefficiencies, but you got to ask yourself why. Like it's not because he all of a sudden sucks.
Right.
Got to ask yourself why. People don't ask themselves why. Yeah, Taft. There's some things that need to be cleaned up, but I mean, we have one game left that matters, and that's scheduled, and that we got to deal with. And I don't know what can be cleaned up between here and now, but yeah, Taft got to ask yourself beyond what you see. Like all of a sudden, Taft sucks. You know,
Yeah.
Something's changed.
Hey, I don't get that. I know I think that word is thrown around way too much. Like they're not machines. Like they're not perfect. They're gonna miss open field tackles. It happens. They got scholarship dudes on the other side. Taft is gonna bust the coverage here and then, like whatever. Like consistently, he's gonna make enough plays to where he's good. And so,
and you're gonna get trucked by a big ass running back occasionally. Like it happens, man.
You know, like and Drew, like I know as your teammates, you can protect your boys. Everybody talks about the good old days. Like, but Aaron Ross got beat. Huff got beat before. Like it happened.
A lot. I saw it every day in practice.
They got beat too. So it happens. Guys, it's football. And sometimes the other person wins the rep. It happens.
VY is the reason I started. I'm picking him off every day. Like people see people at their height and they don't realize like we play against these guys every day. Like there's competition. There's not, you're picking these guys off, you're causing fumbles, you're tackling. Like I played against Jamal Charles, but these guys they played against Bijan Robinson. Like when you think about who these people are playing against, it's funny how we just see they're great or they're not. We don't look on the other side of the ball and actually like respect. Like, yo, they got some dogs too. They have some players too. Like sometimes a player will get beat and you just have to tip your cap. Like, man, this dude is a baller. And so that's probably the other element where there's certain plays, you know, you and I look at or we'll look at and we're just like, man, Taylor Green is just that dude. Everybody else is pissed off about the defense. And you're like, he's been doing this against everybody. Like, why are y'all so mad? This dude is that dude. And sometimes you got to go into a game knowing like, let's just hope we can keep this guy bottled up because he is different enough to, it doesn't matter what scheme you're running. But people just get pissed off. And I get pissed off too, but I put it in context of, yep. I mean, that player is a dog, and they found a way to get that dog a break. Like he's eating right now. So,
Taylor Green throws a bad pass, and then both of his hamstrings got hurt. Come on, Taylor. That was my favorite. Come on, bro. Both of your hamstrings got hurt, dude, after you threw the dumb pass. That part was actually pretty funny. Drew, before we get out of here, man, favorite Reggie Bush story just for the fans, man.
You know what's funny? What's funny about the whole that whole situation, the Reggie Bush deal, is like for preparing for the national championship game. There was like 30 days between the Big 12 championship. I mean, it was actually more than 30 days between the Big 12 championship and the national championship. And so you watched every film, you've seen everything. I mean, Coach Chiz had us dialed into every single thing that they do. We knew it. We saw it. There were no real surprises in that game. But we did go into that game knowing just like, if we lose this game, we cannot let 5 do it. Like that's literally just like we watch film. It's like we can't let 5 do that. Like let's let somebody else beat us. It can't be 5. So we kind of knew the ways in which they wanted to get him in space and make plays, and he made his plays during that game. Really, some really good explosive plays. But at the end of the day, that's been the purest form I've seen of 2 teams that are prepared to play each other. They know each other's insides and like they know it. And then you just let talent do what it has to do. You let talent, scheme, players going out and playing do what it has to do. That game in and of itself, I don't remember people complaining about this is a stupid call or bad coaching, or both sides of that game walked away saying, you know what, hard fought. there's no particular play, some here, they like, but that game in and of itself, we were prepared for it. They were prepared for it. And we ran basic defense. Like, we didn't do anything exotic. It was just talent on talent. And when you have games like that, and even when I look like to the team now, when I talk about talent, there's no Reggie Bush on the Texas sideline. There's no guys who you absolutely have to go into a game and say, how do we account for this? And that's honestly where I think, while we have coaches who are great with scheme, I think they're really good with scheme, leaning into or accepting that we need some dogs. Like, we need, or just give us a dog on each side, that is in a position that you have to account for them. Whether it's T'Vondre Sweat, Byron Murphy, you think about dominant guys on the defensive line, those guys, you have to scheme around those guys. You can go away from a corner. You can go away from a safety. You can go away from a DN. You have to have a linebacker. You have to have a DT. You have to have a wide receiver. You have to have a running back who can make players miss, like Jonathan Brooks, like Bijan Robinson. You have to have guys who can account for mistakes that the team makes if a play is not blocked right. And so Reggie Bush could do that. He wasn't the only one on the USC roster that could do that. But we had VY and we had Jamal Charles, we had Ramas Taylor, and we had guys who could make plays.
Drive. What were do you remember your thoughts before Vince scored? Were you guys like, was it the nerves of like, man, we got to get this, or do you even remember? Are we like, Vince is going to get this?
I never remember having nerves playing ever.
But you don't even feel the moment, like, dude, like, because it's such a legendary game as a fan. Are y'all just like, players are different? I get it, but it's like you gotta, maybe you felt 3% of. Did you feel anything in there?
It was. I don't remember saying to myself, "I hope we score." I kind of just like, all right, it's fourth down. It's first down, it's second down, it's third down. Like, kind of how I watch the games now. Like, I don't get ahead of it. Just like, what play is called? Okay, let's see what happens. And so, nah, man, and maybe I was spoiled. Okay, I won't say maybe. We were all spoiled.
We're definitely spoiled, dude. You're on one of the most legendary teams of all time.
Exactly.
We were all spoiled in that I could afford to not be nervous in that moment, But Chiz, if you talk about a story real quick, like Chiz told us before that drive where we stopped Lindell on fourth and short, Coach Chiz told us, he's like, we're going to go out here. We're going to stop them. We're going to give Vince, they're going to have enough time. He's going to go down and score. We're going to get the stop, get the offensive ball back. We're going to go down and score. We did it. Like, we have the script in our brain programmed before it happened. So maybe that's why there wasn't any nervousness, because that's the only way we were going to win is if we went and got a stop and got a score. So as long as we were on script, I was just following the script. It's like, all right, coach, we did our part. Like, V, go do your part. And VY, he did his thing.
What's the post game? Y'all win the national championship. What happens that night? PG version, but like, what occurs that night post game?
Personally, stayed on the field. I was probably the last person to leave the field just because I was grateful. And there were some other people who were out there too. But you see confetti on the ground, your jersey's dirty, playing on grass. Imagine playing on grass, guys. Oh man, gosh, that was beautiful. The weather is perfect. So that part of it stands out. But really, it's the locker room. Everything that happened after the locker room, PG or not, everybody kind of scatters and is pulled in different directions. But the moment that you remember is just being in the locker room, and is that ultimate. Dude, you practice 300, you're grinding 350 days a year to go play, 15 games, like whatever the number is. So everything, your whole life is centered on this moment. And to be able to come to Texas and prepare and work with this team and grind with this team and then achieve it, on one hand, it's like, of course we planned it, but on the other hand, it's like,
we actually did it.
You see what the work does. You see what the work does. And so that the locker room after the game, that's the best moment, because we've been battling and fighting with these guys. It was emotional. It was exciting. And I felt like we earned we earned it. We earned it against certain odds and against, USC being the best team ever since the 85 Notre Dame team and all the other stuff.
But do you think that helped y'all? Did that edge give you guys the extra 10%? Because y'all were the underdog role seemed like it had a big psychological factor. You got Vince Young, that doesn't hurt. But you guys always are like the greatest SC everything. Yeah. Y'all didn't like that.
Imagine the whole 30 plus days you're waiting to play a game and you just want to turn on the TV. Your mom's like, oh, I see they're going to talk about Texas. And then the whole conversation about Texas is if they can keep up with USC.
Yep. I remember.
Come on, man.
I'm glad you weren't nervous. I think I watched that game in Razzoos and I didn't touch my food for 4 quarters. Thanks a lot.
Dude, my parents are not sports fans at all. My parents don't watch sports. My parents were jumping up and down when y'all won that game. They probably didn't know what a first down was. And that point, I'm screaming, dude. And then my parents are jumping up and down. Don't even like sports. That's how awesome of a game it was. That'll be like a core memory forever from my childhood. It was awesome. I was nervous AF. Yeah, it was a little different when you're watching.
There was I never remember being nervous playing football. But do you ever, if you've seen video footage, do you ever think you've ever seen Vince be nervous?
No, I mean that was his whole vibe.
I mean, he was just unaffected. Nerves. Why would I be nervous? Like
I'm Vince Young.
Yeah. We don't work that hard to be nervous. What? This is a game, man. This is fun. Like, come on, dude.
100%.
It's funny though, but as a fan now, it's like, man.
It is funny. You watch players that went from current to former on Twitter now, and now they get to watch it as fans, and they do get nervous. They're like, "Oh, this is what it feels like."
Yeah.
Whenever you're down, it's like it is funny to watch the transition from on the field to off the field for former players. That was an awesome story, man. Well, one day we'll just do a full episode of that season story.
Now I just get to talk about it.
$1 for your first week. Come over to Inside Texas, guys. We'd love to have you over there. Awesome, awesome community, funny, smart, and a lot of engagement. Not a lot of dead posts going on. And then recruiting, team news, analysis, all of that. Of course, we are about to transition fully into A&M week. It is the week. They got a damn good squad. Let's see if we can do anything about that. And it's going to be at home. That's going to be a lot of fun. Everyone, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Enjoy your Saturday night. And this was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Later.